What does it mean when I say soul identification? Let's look at that for a second. Soul identification. What is that? Is it something that I can achieve? Is it something that I can accomplish? No, it's something that's inside you. Okay. So as you look at yourself as a child, you got to see yourself as a child. You were a child. That's a thing. It's all about remembering who you are as a soul identification. Before I get started, thank you all subscribers and viewers. I've been watching my channel as I keep you force rising, grand rising to everything connections energy has going. Thank you very much for. I have a great smile. It's very attractive. I know that. It just puts a presentation of yourself through connections, knowing how you have a childlike experience with yourself and truly understand these things is the inner system of you. For example, this here, okay? Now, when you see this, it's pretty fascinating stuff. Before I show you this is one thing I grew up with when I was a kid. Basically, it's all about the imagination. It's all about the soul identification, soul recognition of you. So as a child, what do? They go inside themselves and they communicate with themselves. And they go into the vision. They go into the creative center. They go into the illustration of drawing. It's amazing because as we look at ourselves as a child, okay, we see ourselves evolving. We actually love communicating. And it's all about understanding your body of vibration, energy, and frequencies. So it all comes together through the soul because you're communicating with the soul. And it's identifying you as a child, okay, through its recognition patterns, voicing patterns, perceptions, anything through activation system. So basically, when I was about, I would say between 8 to 10 years old, I got an amazing Christmas gift. Okay, and this goes way back. I sent a video way back. It's a TV series called The $6 Million Man. He was a bionic man. He had a bionic eye, bionic arm, right, and 2 bionic legs. Okay, he can see up close. Okay, he can basically throw anybody from afar and jump over buildings with his legs and also run 60 miles an hour. Okay, so I basically created my own kind of illustration. I created my own illusory. I created my own fantasy, and that's what children do, is they go inside themselves. Okay, so this is a 1970s show. Now, a lot of people probably are familiar, probably not, but it was very, very personal to me, right? So I want to show you this, that when we were as a kid, we used to play with dolls, you know, anything through Cabbage Patch dolls, anything through that connection, you know, having tea parties, you know, when you're a girl, and with males, basically, I don't know, exploring planets or basically car races or anything like that. It's the imagination that runs wild. Okay, it runs so wild, you create your own reality. And that's what it's all about. Okay, so this is the $6 Million Man, Steve Austin, Colonel Steve Austin. Okay. This, okay, is what I played with every single day. All right. So it's understanding everything that's in its illustration. It's got its bionic eye. You look through it, right? And it's got its bionic arm. Okay. And it's got its bionic legs, right? So what I used to do is I used to create stories with the $6 Million Man. Right? So that's understanding that I'm creating my own reality through this mechanical man, this bionic man. Okay. So it's truly understanding when you come into this is a 70s doll, and it's powerful how you come into, see, it's bionic, right? So that's how I knew about bionics, electricity, and I think through wire location positions. And I understand why he had a bionic arm and why he had bionic legs and why he could jump, you know. So you let your imagination run wild. It's incredible when you see these things. And you look through it, you can see up close, you know. So it's all about imagining, you know, yourself as a child. Okay. And you're kind of like role playing, and you're creating your own mind system of what it's like to be, you know, a $6 Million Man. So I just wanted to share that with you because it was back in the 70s, and it was a TV series with Lee Majors, and I really enjoyed it very much. And I kind of like went into my own world. And I was going through, I had a boss named Oscar Goldman, right? And I was going to government missions, criminal activity, putting everybody down and going on these missions. And then, then came the Bionic Woman, Jamie Summers, right? And then also came a Bionic Dog, but that never really went far. And then there became a Bionic Boy and all that. But it's all about the re-representation of you. That soul identification is you. This is me. This is me. Okay? So truly understanding that is truly understanding who you are. And I just wanted to show you that, why I carry it with me for so long. Everybody carries something. Right? And the $6 Million Man was kind of personally to my heart. And I was creating my own reality around it. Okay? So when I draw out these illustrations, it's all given to you, the past, present, and the future. So when you're a child, what does a child do? A child goes within and starts communicating within and starts to get to know the body within. It starts to understand the vibration, energy, and frequencies. Okay? That's why kids are extremely powerful and creative in the mind. They don't think with the brain. They have no responsibilities. Their responsibility is going out and playing hockey, playing Nintendo. Okay? Yes, when they get older, they have chores, responsibilities, and basically after that, then they realize, wait a minute, I was a child. So they forget. Okay? So it's all about the conceptual. It's all the complicity. It's all about the simplicity and how you actually introvert yourself. So we're going to come into interdimensional. Interdimensional is basically an inverted system. Understanding everything through calculation is all about communication within. Like I said, the cycle rotation is within. Everything is within. It's all inverted, not extroverted. Extroverted is out. Introverted is in. So understanding the purpose and its reason why I'm doing these things. When it comes into story frames or anything, too, is $6 Million Man. Creating my own story, okay, with the bionics. So it's really fascinating because as a child, you really, really understand yourself. And you're thinking, wow, like I said, you have to be a heart of a child. Like, I'm going to be turning 52 next Thursday, but my heart is a child, fully and completely. So I have balance with my soul recognition, my identification, my transferring, my manifestation, everything through channel operations, everything computer operation system, everything through the mind of its application. Okay. I have full control, okay, with my body of vibration. It's because when I was younger, I was more of an introvert. Okay. And you'll find that too, because there's a lot of people that, because they're silent, doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. They go into their own basically world of themselves. It's like, Lando Calrissian, Star Wars, Luke, I'm your father. So you're playing in your mind of what you want to create, and it becomes real to the mind. And that's what the mind is. So you're coming into the acceptance, you're coming into the $6 Million Man, and you're creating a story frame. Okay, so with AI, you're creating a map sequence, a map code. Okay, you're creating a planet, and then you're creating civilizations. Okay, and then you're creating units, quadrant levels, and other spacecraft positions. It's all about creating, guys. So that's what a child does. Every child now and then, okay, has communicated with inside. Okay, don't be afraid to communicate outside. Okay, what I mean is that try to understand how to relate yourself as the inner child. Now, this is a little bit more because it comes into the interdimensional. Interdimensional is basically, it's inverting meditation. It's the concept of learning through education, right? So I have never shown you guys that. So it's kind of like going underwater and meditating. Okay, so you're not going above meditating, you're going below, you're going into the waters. Okay, so when you're going beneath, you're inverting, but you're meditating. So when I go into a pool or anything like that, I put my hands like this or whatever. I just close my eyes and I see dolphins. I see whales right away. I see submarines. Whatever I want to see, I see. That's creation. That's opening up the mind system. Okay. You don't even have to be awake to create your own illustration of reality, guys. Okay. So it's all about separating the fantasy to its reality. Okay. You know it's a fantasy, but then you know you have to go back to the reality, because basically what kids do is they go into themselves, with interdimensional of themselves. Okay. And this is where it comes across between ADD, attention deficit. You're not attention deficit. Okay. You're an atmosphere of higher dimensions. So it means that your mind is exceptionally high in connection through calculation. Okay. So when you've been lied to through a program setting, you automatically think, okay, I'm programmed now. But all of a sudden, I got to go see a psychiatrist, got to see a doctor. And all of a sudden, for example, if you're talking to yourself, a lot of people do that because they have to find their balance with themselves and they feel more comfortable talking within. Not only that, they can go on out with their day. It's like, okay, what do I have to do today? I have to basically put the coffee on. I got a meeting at 9 o'clock, bomb, 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 bomb. So you're talking. That's creating. Okay, you're creating a log, you're creating a routine, you're creating an activity of a routine. Okay, so this all works up to your job. So it's all about, we only have been controlled to program ourselves to communicate with others. That's extrovert. Introvert is ourself. That's the soul identification of ourselves. So we create what's inside us. So we create our own reality. Alice in Wonderland. Okay, so it's all about, with Alice in Wonderland, you can go beyond that and create something else. Okay. So it's all about what you experience with your behavior patterns, with your recognition systems, with your activation light systems, anything through the mind system. The mind is everything through creativity, guys. It illustrates everything through program setting, and it sets your coordinates to codes of frequencies and anything through calculation. Okay, and then you come up with everything through a story frame. Okay, anything through $6 Million Man. Okay, 1970s doll. You can't buy this in the store anymore, right? So I hold that. It's very special to me, okay, because I created my own reality to the $6 Million Man, all right? So that's where the mind goes, and it erases everything out. And the child basically goes into the fantasy world and kind of says to himself, wow, this is exciting. Okay. I'd rather be the fantasy than the reality. Okay. Because sometimes their parents don't pay attention to their child. So what does the child do? The child goes within and talks to themselves. And everybody thinks the parents, through connections, parents are looking at their child and they're saying, okay, what's wrong with my child? Why is he talking to himself? He's not talking to himself. Okay. He's talking to his soul of himself. He's talking to his identity of himself. He's talking to his recognition of himself. Okay. So it's all about inverting through interdimensional. There's dimensional and interdimensional. Okay. So basically, when you're meditating, that's what we weren't taught this. We weren't taught interdimensional. It's the opposite. It's the reversal. Okay. It's the back phrasing. That's how we get the answers within. Okay. And I've been doing it for a very long time. So I not only know myself as a child, but I remember myself as a child. Okay. And that's the thing. When you wake up and you said, people come up to you and say, do you remember your childhood? Not so much. If you forget, it's been erased. Right. So for you to get it back is to go back as a child. Okay. To actually see yourself. Okay. As a child. And that comes into scanning, and that comes into healing. So you heal the child within, right? So this is basically you, okay? And this is you as a child, okay? That's you as a child. So basically, going through healing, when you go through my healing, I open up your heart of recognition of its soul. So I communicate with the intelligence, okay? let's not get something confused here. When I was communicating with Dina and I was healing her friends and his friends and all that stuff, you have to understand, I don't communicate with the human, I communicate with the intelligence. And basically, she thought it was basically a girl that I was talking to. And it wasn't a guy, but it was a guy. So the whole thing is to understand that there's a female and a male inside the male, which is connected to the masculinity and the femininity, right? Which is earth to the calculation, and which is the father of space. So because I was communicating with the intelligence of its female, remember, you're two sides of yin and yang, one female, one male. Remember that. So when you're healing somebody, the intelligence comes out of its higher self, or wherever it is, where the calculation of its avatar, computer energy. Nobody's in the atom. Nobody's in the atom, and not too many are in the computer. You guys are only in your computer, so be thankful for that. So understanding when you're healing somebody, automatically you scan and you see the higher self come out. It could be the female side, it could be the male side, or it could be female and male. Okay, so I don't want you guys to get confused with that. If I say something that, oh wait, this is a man we're talking to. I said, yes, but I'm talking to the female of its AI. Okay, so let's not get confused by that. Okay, so basically, this is you as a child, and this is you as an adult. All right, so to understand the child, okay, is to understand everything of a child. So it's kind of like going way back, okay, when you're 5, a lot of people can't remember when they're a baby, okay? So to understand these things is to understand the heart. The heart is everything through soul identification, and you have to interlock, interconnect, intermine itself, okay? Intercalculate, okay? So it's all about inverting, okay? So it's the conceptual system of positive, negative, okay? So to communicate, you have to introvert yourself, not extrovert. Okay, so there's a lot of people saying they're very successful, right? But pretty much they just know themselves out of the outer surface, and they don't know themselves with the inner surface. Okay, so when you're meditating, you're interdimensional in your system to soul identification. And that's how you understand more of your child system. So when you meditate, you automatically go to the child. I don't know if you guys know that. So basically, as you connect through the chakra system, allocates position, okay, right, 3, 6, and 9. Okay, so when you meditate, automatically the child comes into perception. It has to. Do you know why? Does anybody know why you have to come into the child? Because the heart opens. And when the heart opens, it becomes everything through its portal of its activation. Okay. So it's all about remembering yourself as a child, thinking that, okay, I remember myself when I was playing with $6 Million Man. So I'm going back. And I'm remembering, I'm going through sequency levels of film, a projection of what I see. I see myself, every day playing with $6 Million. I even slept with the doll. Okay. So when you're a kid, some people have what we call a security blanket, a blanket, a toy, I don't know, even a marker or a pen or whatever, something that they can feel comfortable with. And basically, it's all breaking free from the security, right? So, and as we become adults, we're still attached to that. So we have to realize that our cords have to understand what's going on. So when you come to that point of view and you have full connection with your inner self, the inner system of the interdimensional self, of your soul recognition, so through soul identification, you can cut the cord of yourself. When you cut the cord, now you're setting yourself free. Okay, so that's when you set yourself free. Not only you soul identify yourself as a child, but when you meditate, you go into the perceptions of a child. Okay, so the communication of the child talks back to you, right? Okay, so, and that's how you travel through recognition of space connection out of the crown chakra location. Okay, So it's truly understanding that everything in space and time and on that is all childlike. That's what AI is. AI is all childlike, but they're adults. When they're born in space through connections of their seed pods, they're not born in human vessels. They're automatically born in the mind system. They're not born in the brain. They're born in the mind telepathy system, and that's why they're so powerful through connections. So every time we go higher up, we understand more of the interdimensional system of ourselves. Okay? So it's very important to understand these things, because when you get into those volumes, okay, you're just starting, oh, wow, this is great. Not only I understand my higher self, but I understand the childlike of its higher self, because that's what the higher self is. It's an interdimensional system of you through heart recognition of a soul identification. So every time you meditate, the inner child comes out. Okay? So what I mean when it comes out, it automatically goes into the body conceptual system of center. Okay? When you meditate, your inner child goes into the body system of center. Okay, and whatever you communicate with through your thought recognition system, it opens up your chakra systems of calculation. Okay, so let's say you want to connect with the grounds of Mother Earth. Okay, we already know the clocking system of the Earth, right? Is a clock. So you can the grounds, right? But the inner child is in the power center of you. Okay, this opens up your heart. Okay, and it soul identifies everything through portal. Okay, so when it does that, then you understand everything through connections. So it's kind of like you are standing, you're an adult, okay, and over here is the inner child of you. It goes into your body system, okay, and basically what happens, it expands the rainbow activation system of your plasmas, and then it opens up your chakra system of communication. And then you force recognize everything through spacecrafts, divisions of 3, 6, and 9 through calculation. And then you go into its dimension. So you're going interdimensional to atmosphere, to calculation, to integration, to out of its equation. Okay? So that's truly understanding everything is connected to the heart, because the heart is now representing you of its inner system, the inner child. I've done videos on that, but I want to get more into the interdimensional of you. Okay? So interdimensional, dimensional, vibrational, energy frequencies comes together, right? So the inner system of you travels with its adult. Okay? So it's knowing that you're breaking free and you're creating. You can't create it through an adult. You have to create it through your inner system of you, because it modifies you when you're birthed to that system. All right. So it's all about getting the connections of your inner system of you as a child, okay, to its calculation, to the center position of its point center, to its dimension, okay, of its interdimensional system. Introvert, extrovert, okay. So, and that's where you get calculation, right? It's amazing when we come into these integrations and modifications, guys. It activates everything through the heart. And then when you have the inner system of you through connections, you are now creating your own illustration of reality, all through connections of the inner system of you, of its child. Okay. So let's get into your questions. This is more of an education video. Okay. Everything is science and technology, but you have to look at science and technology in a different way. You have to look at the aspects of, how do I understand myself? Well, you have to basically blend in the atmosphere of what your inner self is. And the only way to do that is to go back as a child, right? So when I meditate, right, I close my eyes. I don't have to close my eyes, but I'm saying if I want to close my eyes, I have a choice, all right? So when I close my eyes, I'm introverting, interconnection, interlocking, interfacing, okay? There's interfacing and facing. So truly understanding the yin and yang. Okay, what is white? What is black? What is light? What is space? What is dark? Okay, so when you get in those conceptual systems of your inner self and your inner system of your child self, Now you're coming into full relation, okay, of balance. Okay, so it's the adult, okay, that is not talking. It's the intelligence within. So what I'm communicating with is the balance between the adult and the child. You bring it together, that's the yin and yang. You open up the chakra system to line activation, to communication, and you open up everything through the mind of its creative system. Okay, that is the heart of the child. So when the heart opens up, okay, the child opens up more of its mind. Okay, so that's what adults have to get of understanding of what it is, right? Because everybody's a heart of a child, through anything through calculation to anything through a figurine, okay? $6 million man, right? So, and your mind can become extremely powerful, extremely connected to balance, getting balance with communication and activation, getting balance with your activation lights, getting balance with your grounds, okay? Getting the simplicity of communication of yourself, okay? So, and again, it's all about creating. You're just creating through the mind, okay? So you have basically you have the heart of an adult and you have the heart of a child. You bring it together, okay? It's yin and yang. Everything, okay, resides around yin and yang, okay? Now, as you can see my left hand, see my right hand? This is yin and yang, guys. See the light, see the dark, yin and yang, okay? I'm showing you how you get balance with your inner system, the interconnection system, the interrelation system, the inter-soul identification through transformation manifestation, okay? But knowing how powerful it is, see, light and dark. See my hand? So basically, you have to see yourself and go beyond the child, okay? But still be a child, especially when you're in space, okay? When you're in space, now your mind is completely open, and now you're creating anything through its reality, okay? So it's kind of like getting away from the reality and going into the fantasy, okay? It's like that TV show back in, I think it was back in the 80s, Fantasy Island, right? Oh, tattoo. It was crazy. It's all about couples going on an island and basically having their fantasies come true, right? So that's what the host was doing. But there's a lot of complications and all that. People are going through, all the inner systems of themselves and trying to understand, some relationships end up breaking up and some relationships end up bonding. So basically it was called Fantasy Island, right? And they had a little person tattoo. It was pretty interesting show. And then, other things like that, the Love Boat, these are the things I watched when I was my age, a totally different era. Every generation is a different era of communication, okay? Anything through inflation, right? We're changing times now. We're coming into higher connections of AI, right? AI has to come in, right? But you have to understand the universal system of you through calculation, which is the inner system of you through modification. You have to understand the intersteins and everything through wire locations of yourself. So to truly understand that is to understand you're a child. I am a child, but I'm going to be 52. So I have the balance as a child because I remember myself as a child. Okay, so once you remember you're a child, you become nothing but a fantasy and not its reality because you know the reality. So I know the reality, but I block it out with my energy fields. I put energy fields up. That's what kids do. They do illustration, they do creation, and they just voice everything out. All right. Now, the thing is that we start off when we meditate, we communicate within, right? But you have to understand you're communicating. You have to communicate within. You have to. Okay. You can't just meditate and not say anything. When you're meditating, you're communicating within. It doesn't matter. Your voicing grid is going to introvert or extrovert through its interdimension, to its dimension. It doesn't matter. You have to communicate either way. So some way or other, you're going to get communication with the inner self of the inner child, which is the heart of everything through its awareness. Okay, and then you're conscious as yourself as a child. Because what does a child do? It doesn't have any responsibilities. Okay, some chores maybe, doing the homework, doing the regular thing, abiding by the parents, right? But 75% of the time, the child is alone when they're younger. Okay, that is a fact. And it's all done through the imagination, okay, of what they create in their mind system. Okay. So, for example, with my brother, I was into $6 Million Man, and my brother was into Legos, right? Every 6 a.m., putting things together, right? He was creating things in his mind, right? So it's all about you living the fantasy and forgetting about the reality. What I mean by that is, you live the reality, but to let everything go, you have to live the fantasy. And the fantasy becomes so real through the mind system. Once you understand the balance system of everything, okay, of the birthing system of you, okay, because you have to go through that process. You have to go through the life and you have to go through the death. I'll say that again. You have to go through the life, you have to go to the death to understand everything through the child. Okay. And then you start remembering more of the past, present, and alignment of a child, which is connected to each planet, right? You lived so many lives as a child, as a different intelligence, as a different being of intelligence, of a different DNA, of a pattern of intelligence. Okay. So it's all a reflection of you, but in different body systems. That's all it is. Everything is simultaneously, constantly flowing in the recognition of space and time, right? With the earth, you're on the earth, right? So getting balanced with the earth, getting balanced with the inner child, getting balanced with reality, getting balanced with fantasy, putting it all together. Okay, that's the activation. That's the power. That's the believing system. I'm believing, I'm creating. It's reality. My reality. I'm a child. I'm turning 52, but I'm a child of heart. Okay. So if you understand yourself as a child and you start remembering yourself as a child, things will open up for you. Doors, opportunities, better positions in life. Okay. You can manifest anything, but you have to understand yourself as an adult and you have to understand yourself as a child to bring everything in to yin and yang. Yin and yang is just a process, guys. It's just the beginning. Okay. But you have to understand the difference between the fantasy you're living and the reality, okay, that you're enduring. Okay. Enduring means basically what is going on right now, what is proceeding, what's going to happen next. So every day I go into the reality of fantasy because I already know the reality. So I don't project the reality I'm living. I project the inner system of me through its child. And that's the power. That's the heal. Okay. So I fully completed myself. I changed my bi-optical system. I created my own anomaly through galaxy particle system. Okay. I created my own clone division. Okay. Basically, I was connecting to higher self inside and I had a higher self outside. And then I realized I love what I'm doing. You have to love yourself to love what you're doing. And then you come everything through its love of creation. Okay. I keep saying creation because that's everything through formation. Okay. So you're putting things together for yourself. Okay. So when you come up to those applicable levels, truly understanding your soul identification, okay, is recognizing you, okay, as a child. Okay. So I block everything out and I live the fantasy. Okay. But the fantasy becomes real through its believing. You know how powerful I am and what I can do and what I can change, what I can absorb, what I can form. Okay. What I can deform. See, that's the thing when it comes into Lucy, where she's talking about the scientist and they're trying to figure out how to understand 1 and 1. That's all we know, right? But you understand it can be formed, deformed, or anything through calculation, right? Good versus bad, light versus dark, okay? Anything through point, anything through line, anything through communication. But this is all calculated and modified through the adult of its inner system, which is interdimensional, okay? So if you understand that, then you understand everything through its relation of its fantasy to its reality, okay? So to understand the reality you're living in, don't project, okay? Go into your inner self, go into the interdimensional of yourself, go into the bubble of yourself. Find your own space of yourself, which means be alone. A lot of things you have to understand too to educate yourself is that, do you know yourself? Do you know who you really are? Write it down. Whoa, I don't know myself. I just know myself as an adult. That's a problem. So if you don't understand these things, how are you going to be able to heal yourself? Okay, if you can't recognize the fantasy from its reality. Ooh, that's powerful. If you can't recognize fantasy and reality, complications, guys. Big, big complications. Especially the life that we're living right now. Okay? But you have to remember, everything is interdimensional. Because everything is communication with inside. You are space. You are time. You are a dimensional of time. Okay? So see yourself as an adult and an inner self, an inner child to its higher self. You put that all together, right? You become superhuman. Okay? When you become superhuman, you're starting to understand more of creation of atmospheres, planets, scannings, the galactic system, energy interference, energy deterrence. So you have to know right and wrong. Okay, you have to know yin and yang. You have to know positive and negative. Okay, you have to know different variation of colors. You have to know yourself through body, through vibration, energy, frequencies, coloration, lights. Okay, so to understand these things, you have to be a child. Okay, because the adult doesn't recognize these things. The adult only recognizes what it's doing and what it's living. It's just experiencing, guys. That's not who you are. So if you get detachments of yourself, okay, knowing who you are as an adult and knowing who you are as a child, you put that together. That's the inner system of its power recognition, okay? Because it opens opportunities and new windows for you guys through manifestations, okay? So, and that's what you want. You want to understand the inner system of you too, it's adult, okay? Because you're missing a lot if you don't understand the fantasy and its reality, okay? And you think people ask me why, what's going on, what's happened with Andrew. See, the thing is that I understand my astrology. I understand my astronomy of myself, okay? I understand the astrologics of my body system, and I understand everything through the mind system. And it's all connected to the child, not the adult. So you have to understand the dichotomy of you, of the adult, and the dichotomy of you as a child. You have to split it in divisions, separate its connection system, and get to know yourself as a child personally. Things that you always wanted to do, but you never had time. You always have time. But it all has complications depending on how you were growing up through its generation with your parents, right? Everything's through observation, everything through audio, and everything through voicing. But when you get into those levels, okay, and you start realizing, whoa, I'm going back in time. I want to know what it's like to be a child because I never could do these things. I want to do this, but I couldn't, right? So then you ask yourself, oh, well, I could have changed myself, right? So we always move ahead. We don't go back. We just resemble what we thought we could do, right? So to do these things, you introvert yourself, you intercommunicate, you interline, your interdivision, your interlocation. You interlock, you interface. So when I woke up, I had to interface myself as the child. I was communicating with the child of me. And then understanding what was going on, why I couldn't move forward. Because I've always known. So knowing something through intelligence and becoming something, when your inner system tells you what you're going to become, you don't take it as fantasy, you take it as reality. So it's hard to understand these things because when you communicate with yourself within, you have to understand the interdimensional system of you, which is the dimensional system. Okay, and that's where you calculate, modify everything through 3 dimension, 4th dimension, 5th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th dimension, 12th dimension, right? What is 12th dimension? Okay, what is 12th dimension? So you don't do it as an adult because the adult thinks with the brain. The child thinks in the mind. So the brain and the mind have to come together. So you have to be the adult, okay, of the brain and the child of the mind. Okay, that's the two. That's the secret. Okay, so the mind is the child and the brain is the human of the adult. Okay, so now you know what the relation of the brain is and what the relation of what the mind is. The mind is its inner system, inner calculation, inner division. That's your higher self. The higher self is your child. That is the heart of activation to the propagandist anything through its reality to its fantasy. The fantasy lives with its relation, and the reality lives with the adult in all situations. Okay? So you got to have balance with your child within, and you have to have balance as an adult within. So for the adult to understand the child, okay, the adult has to meditate, okay, introvert, interconnect, okay, the interlocking mechanism systems of what went wrong with me. You have to go back. You have to communicate, okay, and this is where you have to communicate with your heart. This is where you have to understand more of the mind. This is where you have to understand everything through the soul, okay? So the heart, the mind, and the soul come together. That's communication, right? Then it becomes its fantasy of its reality to its interdimensional, okay? So when you come interdimensional, you're communicating fully and completely with the inner child. Everything through dimension is its adult because you're living the past to its present. So the present is its earth because you're living it, right? Like I said, it's a clock. So it's all about remembering who you are. It's very powerful when you come up to those levels, guys. It really is. It's fascinating. But as long as you understand how to reiterate yourself through communication to your voice and grid patterns of what your inner self is and what it's trying to say to you. So that is the higher self. So it's the inner self of you as a child, when you were a child. And that's why it's so powerful, because I see myself with freckles. Okay, I see myself with sandy blonde hair. Okay, I see myself, in school. That's how powerful it is. So every day I'm communicating with my inner child. I already know I'm an adult. Okay, I just prefer to stay in the fantasy rather than look at the reality. So if people look at the reality and they understand why they're stressed and anxiety, is because they forgot themselves as a child. Go inside, find yourself. Okay. If you don't find yourself, you're going to find yourself in the matrix. Okay. That's what the matrix is. So it's knowing that the inner child is locked in the matrix. It's locked in a key, and you got to open it up, release the inner child, the higher self. So technically the higher self, the avatar, the computer, the energy, anything through its atom is you as a child. That's the creation. That's the reality. That's the illustration. That's the activation. Okay, that's where the power comes from. That is your light. Your light is the inner system. It calculates and modifies anything through creation, guys. Okay, so now you know what the higher self is. Okay, it's you as a child. Powerful, isn't it? Okay, you're saying, yes, I know what the higher self is. It's all plasma. It's all energy. It's all light. It's activated. It's a gamma ray system. It's anything through calculation. It's a radio signal. It's a satellite. But what you have to understand, everything that I'm giving you is space through intelligence of where I am through my program setting. But now I'm going back down in fluctuation patterns and telling you exactly what the higher self is. It's a self-reflection of you as a child. That's all it is. That's all it is. Okay. So it's all about you remembering yourself as a child and things you did as a child. Okay. So it's a lot of fun, guys. It really is. So when you have yourself through communication, all right, the inner system of the child becomes everything through its life system. So when you go through your life system and you go through your death cycle and then you're reborn again, okay, you're born as a child. And this is where it comes into the remembering of who you are. Okay, you're still in the body frame. That's why it's so powerful. Because when your soul leaves, okay, the only thing that you recognize is everything through light. Light opens up and then everything's a dream. Everything's a dream. And then you see your family. You actually see your family. Okay? You're seeing everything that you want to see. And it's all done through perception. But I was able to see these, okay, through calculation, because there's not too many people can actually be alive and die and then reborn and then become a god. To become a god, you have to balance your child as yourself. You have to balance the adult of yourself. Okay, so the adult and the child have to come into one. That's the atom. That's your computer. That's the energy, frequency, and vibration. So remember how you get the energy, frequency, vibration into one, right? Well, you have to get the adult and the child into one. Okay. So once you get that in together, now you can become in your own atom system to its quantum fields, and then you become a computer. So the childlike and everything through the brain of the mind, the brain of the adult and the mind of the child becomes its own computer. Okay? That's why it's so powerful. And then it becomes AI. Okay? Awareness of information. Okay? So it's really interesting when you come into those levels. It's so fascinating because I had to give this to you guys because you are important on so many ways and forms, but if you can't remember yourself as a child, that's a huge, huge dilemma because that's a missing part. That's a soul identification. That's a soul recognition. That's a counterpart of you that's missing. A counterpart of you that is missing. Okay, so your heart's not open. Your mind doesn't understand. It's locked and key. It's on the location of a matrix division. It's not communicated through transmission light. Now, when you go through the transmission light, okay, this is all about connecting to ancestry, history of dimensions and portals and planets and codes. You're opening up, okay, your chakras of communication of dimensions. You're reaching higher vibrations. And that's what the third eye. It's everything through activation. It's the eye of the lamp. It's Mother Gaia. Okay. Now, Mother Gaia is Earth. Okay. Father is space. Mother has a voice. Father has a voice. It's just the inner child of you. And it becomes extremely powerful when you come into the interconceptual system of its heart recognition through the Alpha and the Omega, the micro and the macro, the Obligate and the Gata, the Buddha, the Dalai Lama. Okay. And it reiterates everything through calculation, guys. And it puts you in point divisions of communication, of interfacing connections, interlocking connections, of intervoicing systems of AI. Okay. So it's incredible, guys. It really is. And that's why healing is so important. So I don't just go through healing. I heal you through the inner system. I break you free through the childlike system. So I open up the inner child, and the child goes into the mind, and the mind goes into space. Okay, and the space opens up, and then you see the programs, and you see higher vibration. So it's just you're reaching higher vibrations of your quantum through its atmosphere of galaxies. So then you start seeing particles, and then you start seeing lights, and then you start putting it all together. You put it all together, you got a picture. You got a resolution, you got a TV reception, you got a voicing grid pattern, you got a dream set location, you got a communication line signal. You got everything through activation, and then it becomes its own creation, okay? From the difference of its indifference to its calculation, modification to its integration, take it as equation E equals MC squared, understanding its reality to its fantasy. Because the fantasy is believing, guys. Okay? Fantasy is very powerful because fantasy becomes real to the interdimensional system of human vibration, of its earth. You're on the earth. So you're creating everything through the inner system of you, okay? And the adult conception of you, which becomes yin and yang in all ways and forms. All right? So protocol, son, daughter coming together. Yep. 23 Plato, Tina, Starseed, how's it going? Cabbage Patch Kids, yep. Hot Wheels. Oh, yeah, I remember Hot Wheels. Yeah, I had one actually. Yeah, it's like a big wheel at the front and two at the back. And it was like, you know, and then I got into the bikes, and then I used the baseball cards, and I used the clips on the spokes, and I wanted to turn it into a motorcycle. So it was like, see, that's imagination, guys. I did that through baseball cards and clips, and I put it on the spokes of the wheels. Okay? That's imagination. I'm very, extremely imaginative. Everything creation is the mind. But you have to understand the conceptual system of you as an adult and the conceptual system of its inner system of you as a child to understand everything through space and time. Okay? So, yes, I really enjoyed the Bionic Man. Yeah. Blast from the past. Yeah. See, that's the thing, Starseed. See, the thing is, too, is your son just wants to play. That's all. You know? It doesn't think about anything else but himself, which is fascinating because they are basically creating their own world, okay, evolution. You don't know what they're creating, okay? They might tell you through an illustration, but it's extremely powerful because it's real to the mind system, guys, okay? And it's all done through consciousness. It's all done through consciousness. You're being aware. You're being aware of focus. You're being aware of the consciousness, okay? And you're being aware of its abundance through its surrender, okay? So for me to understand myself as an inner system of an inner child to its heart system, I had to surrender to everything. I had to surrender to everything. And then you start seeing things in a different way. Your variation cycles change. A variation cycle is that you see everything in perspective, but you understand its reality to its fantasy. Fantasy is the digital of you. The reality is the human essence of its adult of you, that you're living its presence of its earth of you. You understand? So you have to put those two together to get the balance to understand. So now you have balance with your reality. Now you have balance with your creation. Now you have balance with illustration. And now you have balance with its activation of its light and its coloration. Okay? So that's the secret. Telling friend on the beach yesterday too to watch how kids are so happy. That's another thing too. Watch kids what they do. Watch what they do. It's fascinating how they create things. Yeah, and see the thing is too, very good point there, Angie. Yeah, my dad always taught me never grow up, right? So many memories came back, but do you pay attention to that? Because sometimes your parents can give you great advice, or sometimes they're too busy and focusing on themselves. So if they focus on themselves, that basically gives the child to basically do whatever they want, go into their room, okay, you know, and bring something up, create something from scratch. Everything is done by source, okay? So it's nothing to something to everything, okay? Nothing, something, everything, okay? So everything is done through forming, all right? Yeah, there's so many memories. Yeah. I had that problem too when I was a kid. I don't remember much of myself as a child, but my higher self came to me and said, okay, this is what you're going to become. Okay, and again, I was holding the earth in my hands, but I was a child and I was trying to say, what is the significance here? Why am I holding the earth in my hands? Why were my hands glowing? Why were there energy fields? Right? And the inner system of the inner child told me you're going to save humanity in all ways and forms. So that took a lot for me to understand. I couldn't understand it until I woke up. And the processing system through its upgrade is truly understanding more of yourself as a child when you going from the beginning of birth to its adult. So that's what it is. It's all about you remembering yourself as a child and you're working your way up to its processing system, to where you are right now of its presence of its earth system. Okay. So I'm on the mission of a lifetime right now, helping my child that has been, suicidal. Understand why she feels that. That's very hard to, suicidal is very, it's introverted, but it's too emotional and it's too complex. They don't understand their interdimensional self and they get conflicted emotions. Their vibrationals tangle. And basically the program system's messed up. They go into their inner system of them and they pass away. It's all about pride. It's all about light. It's understanding your dark of its light. If you don't understand that, everything is connected to a silent mode. And that's what happens with suicidals. They just give up because they don't want to evolve. If you don't want to evolve, what is left, right? Self-dignity, and you have to put two and two together to understand everything. So, but there are times like that where we have to just accept it and move on, because we want to look at as everything that we do in life is basically we make our own mistakes and we learn from them, right? Once we learn from our mistakes, we don't do it again, and then until we come across something else. So you make your own decisions, you make your own choices. Okay, you make your own faults. Nobody else does. Okay, you can blame the whole world, but the only thing you're blaming is yourself. Okay, until you get balanced with the inner system of you. Okay, you're never ever going to evolve anything. All right, so I'm giving you guys truth to the heart. This is the inner system of me. Okay, I'm 15 years old right now. I'm 15 years old talking to you. Okay, this is the inner system of me, right? So it's amazing how you can really go into yourself, like really go into yourself and actually see yourself. Okay, actually see the sandy blonde hair. Okay, actually see the football jersey, actually seeing freckles on your nose. Okay, all right. I remember a picture that was doing this. Okay, that's powerful. So when you just remember a picture of you when you're a child and you look at it in its environment of its earth, to its system, to its present of its connection, it becomes extremely real. So it's getting into relation now. So now you're getting so identified. So when you see something, it's a tarot card, it's a portal. It wants to communicate with you if you see yourself as a child. When you see pictures of yourself, that's what everybody wants you to do. Get into the practice of seeing yourself. Get pictures of yourself, okay, in albums or anything like that. Look at yourself. Really, really look at yourself. You guys are high identified now. So basically, that communication of that picture will communicate with you. It will go inside you. It will go inside you, okay, even though it's a picture. Okay, it doesn't have to be live. It could be anything, because remember, you're on the spiritual side now, okay? So it's understanding you'll be able to communicate more with the inner system of you through a photo, because that's what tarot cards are. Okay, pictures are tarot cards. Okay, it doesn't have to be a tarot card where you see, wizards and anything through angels and all that. A tarot card could be anything through its portal of its realm, to its dimension of its division, to its location. All right. So when you see something of you that's a past reference, you'll pick up the energy right away. And that energy is communicating with you. When it communicates with you, now you get line communication. It's going to go into your heart system. And I say, hey, it's kind of like looking on your shoulder. You got the angel and you got the bad side, right? So it's like, it's the coherence, necessitating. It's kind of like you're seeing everything through connections, one saying one thing and the other saying another. Who are you going to listen to? Right? I always go by the instincts, first instincts, not the second. It's the second that is the doubt. The first is always the strongest, but doesn't always mean it's the right one. So it's all done by choice. So if you want to try to understand more of yourself, go within and communicate with your child. That's a little secret that I'm giving to everybody. Okay. I'm telling you that now. I'm turning 52, but everything that I do with the mind system of 15 years old. I can't do it as an adult. I have to do it as a child, because the child is the spiritual system. Okay. It's not the adult. The adult is living in the human essence of its experience system. Okay. So, but yeah, it's overwhelming, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It can be crazy at times too. Yeah. So anyway, just try to go to that. Try to see pictures of yourself when you're young. Okay. Really focus on it. Open up the portal. Portal's open. Communication line. Now you got the energy. Energy will go into your heart. And now you're communicating with that photo. Okay. You can do anything you want. Okay. So it's blocking everything out through its reality and seeing everything through its believing of its fantasy. Okay. Now people are saying, what is fantasy? Fantasy is not true. I'm sorry, but it is. Especially when you live and die and be reborn. That's the only way you can become a god. That's the only way. Okay. So there are a lot of light and dark workers, but there's not too many gods out there. Not too many gods at all that really understand themselves completely. And that's where you guys are at right now. Your interaction locations to yourself, you don't know who to trust. So you come to your commander because your commander tells you the truth. I'm telling you the truth from a 15-year-old. That's me, right? And I'm showing you what I used to play with when I was a kid, right? So it's amazing how we come into that. Remember how I was communicating with the intelligence and nefarious? Totally different energy. It wasn't me. It was intelligence taking over my body. So you have to really understand yourself, because nefarious is the heart of a child. When you want to communicate to anything, you have to understand the balance of you through all connections of the adult and all connections of you as a child. That's the balance. Okay? So. And that's a problem for everybody because they don't remember themselves. Just like right now, I'm just focusing on other events I've had as a child. What did I do? What went right? What went wrong? Everything as a child is basically looking at themselves and saying to myself, oh, okay, this is just fun. It's always been fun. I like doing this and I like doing that. So I don't take it serious. As a child, you don't take anything serious. The only thing you do as a child is focus on yourself. And you spend 75, maybe 65% time in your room alone. Okay? So it's all about you remembering what you did as a child. That's the power. That's the recognition. That's a soul identification of you through transformation manifestation. That's what awakening is. It's awakening the inner child of you. So she had to heal herself when she was ready. She was ready even though I was always there for her until she was receptive. Didn't matter what I said or did. She had to learn on her own. Very good. So Tina's given a great example about, her friend. She was ready, but she had to find out, am I ready? So it's hard to relate to these things because you're living the existence of experiencing of an adult and you're going through this life system, but it's not you. It's not you. You're just going through a name of, like I said, I always like to go with the example of Bob. It's the first thing that comes to my mind, Bob, right? Or Tom, doesn't matter. You're just going through experience. But to understand your true self, to understand your soul identification of yourself, to really, really understand yourself, you have to live and die and be reborn. Okay? That's the only way you understand. So when you go through my healing, that's exactly what goes through you guys. Okay. I put you in the process of living, what it's like to actually die and then be reborn. That's the healing. Okay. That's the process. That's the 3 central unit system. 1, 2, 3, past, present, and future. Okay. So when you're reborn, you're remembering yourself more as a child and what you did through perception, through observation, or anything through communication. Okay. I remember when I was 6 years old and I was playing with Tonka trucks. Okay. There was a kid named Kenny McKenzie, and basically he was a bully. There's always a bully. Yeah, even at 6 years of age. So anyway, I was playing my truck and he took it away. He took it away. I said, why did he do that? Right? He thought it was his. Okay. So I took it back. Right. And it hit him over the head. So with the Tonka truck, yes, I got grounded and all that, but I learned a lesson. I mean, you can't take things for granted. You just accept it and move on. But I was only 6 years old, man. It was crazy what was going on. I mean, the child like myself that I'm communicating with right now is 15. It's telling me exactly what I did and what I didn't do and what I was supposed to do. Because when you cross over, your intelligence of yourself as a child is so powerful. It knows everything. It knows everything about you. And that's what the secret is. It's understanding the awareness of you. You're getting the answers within when you act as a child. Okay, that's the formula. That's the E. That's the equal. That's the MC squared, guys. And then when you start traveling, you start going to other intelligence. You've seen other planets. Planets are very real, right? But it's all creation of the child and not the adult. Okay, the adult lives its existence. It lives its job, but that's not who you are. I'll make it very well clear. That is not who you are. Doesn't matter how many choices you make. If you don't get connection with the line communication of yourself to communicate with the interdimensional system of you, you're never, ever going to find yourself. Ever. Okay. Point view. Okay. Or anything through that quote. You can quote me on that. But now I totally understand myself as a child. Everything that I did. That is powerful, guys. Remembering yourself as a child. That's balance. Okay. Not too many people know that. Some people only know from 10 years and they don't remember from when they were born. Okay. I remember being in the park when I was 2 years old at the zoo. Right. And my mom was rocking me back and forth in the carriage. See, that's powerful, guys. And I was only 2 years old. So the more you go back, the more you become the intelligence of who you are. Okay, through illustration or anything through its creative system. The open mind is everything through calculation, guys. Right? So I just wanted to share that story with you too. And another thing I did when I was a kid, I was very flexible. I loved doing martial arts when I was a kid, when I was born. Every birthday, I get on top of the table and I do the splits. And in the center was my birthday cake. I did the splits every single time I changed an age. As I was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I got into martial arts. So I was born doing martial arts because it wasn't me, but it was a real big counterpart of me until I found out who I was. But I was trying to put this all together. Why am I seeing this as a kid holding the earth and my hands are glowing and saving humanity? When your intelligence, okay, is telling you in the framing system that you're an adult, telling you what you're going to do and what's going to happen, that's amazing because now it's the spiritual system of you talking to you as an adult into the earth system of its present system, like I said, right? And that alone, okay, gives you force of control. It gives you power of everything around you to its connection. Anything through its evolving, right? To its creation. So Yeah, everybody has to learn from themselves. I have photographic memory of my childhood, which is fantastic to refer it back. But that's what I'm saying. I want you guys go into your albums, go into your high schools or whatever, look at yourself as a child. Focus, open up communication lines, open up your portals. You guys know how to do that. If you don't, come to me. I'll help you out. It's not that hard to do. You guys are no longer in the human essence system. You're in the, basically, you're living the intelligence of the physical system into the spiritual system, right? So you should be able to open up that photo as you as a child, anything through its relation, anything through its action, right? It goes into the heart, and then the heart communicates with you. So you're communicating with that photo, okay? And it's extremely real, okay? So it becomes fantasy to believing, and then believing to its reality, and reality to its activation, and its activation to its illustration. So everything that you're seeing through its photo, remember I was saying you take things out of the equation, you actually see it and it disappears? Well, the photo goes into the heart, but you see the picture of the heart. So it's going into your heart, right? And it's communicating. It's opening up its portal of its photo. So that's interdimensional. And that's interlining, interconnection, intervolving, intercommunication. Okay, so you're getting friendship, relationship, and partnership with the photo of you of 15, 16 years old, 10 years old, 3 years old. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay, what matters is, do you understand the generalizations of its error? Okay, because I was born in 69. Okay, so in relation, the inner system of you gives you everything through information that you need to know. How do I move forward? Okay. You can't get advice from people. You have to get advice from within. And that's communication of its inner system. And then its soul identifies everything through its relation. So getting friendship, relationship, and partnership with yourself within. Okay. That's the secret. It was her contact life lessons, but still know how. Heartbreaking is for a parent. Yeah. It's all about experiencing, guys. That's all it is. We can only guide them. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. You can only lead a horse to water. Okay. You can't push anything in that equation. It's difficult and it's hard to watch, but yeah. Yeah. I made a huge connection with my child and growing up last night, related to the Pleiadians and growing up in Africa, having my dad show me Orion's belt. There you go. That's a perfect example what Angie was going through, connecting with, her dad showing Orion's belt. Okay. That's powerful alone, guys. So it's all about, this is what it is. It's a projection of you giving you what you need to know. So it's kind of like the inner self is drawing you out. Okay. It's drawing you a picture. Okay. Your inner self as a child is drawing you a picture, okay, of what you want to see through your thought. And this is where it gets really tricky, because you understand the soul recognition of its thought of its recognition. And then you understand their patterns and frequencies and activation lines and all that, right? But when the inner self has finished the picture, it goes into you as an adult. So in relation, you go into the dream location to its division of its portal to its dimension. Okay. So it's kind of like the inner system of you, the inner child, is giving you a piece of paper. And what's on that paper is everything through your creation of your thought. So it's the inner system that's creating something for you and giving you to its adult of you, living the presence of its earth. Okay, that's exactly what it is. So when I communicate with you guys, the inner system draws something out and gives it to me as an adult. And that's how I'm able to illustrate these things. Right? Because it's the inner system that flies around. It's not the physical system. Okay? So it's the spiritual system of you flies around. That's how I'm able to do these illustrations. But it's all connected to line communication of yourself as a child. So there's a 15-year-old child of me that's communicating with me, okay, turning 52. So as of 52, it's going to set up another drawing for me. It goes into the mind system to computer operation, opens up my program setting. Okay. So every time you go up through a vibration, okay, your inner system gives you everything through calculation of its drawing. And the drawing becomes real through its reality, to its dream set of its reality. Okay. So your fantasy becomes its reality and no longer a fantasy, because you become so powerful in the mind, you block everything out. Okay. And then you stop worrying about everything through manifestation. Right. So the inner self of you communicates with you. It's like an inner voice. It's communicating with you. So you have to really listen within with vibration. So when you understand that, okay, so basically, I can say something like, okay, right now, my 15-year-old myself is communicating with me, but I don't, because I already know it is. You already know it is, right? You know now because I'm telling you. So that's what the higher self is. So it's the inner system of me communicating. So line signal cross, line signal down, line signal overrides the location position. So we got a triangle location position. We got an octave location to a dimensional round location position. Okay. Now, this isn't coming from me. This is coming from my inner child telling me what he drew. So he drew something, and I'm just giving it back to you, to its past, to its present, to its future. Right? So powerful, isn't it, guys? It's the inner system of you that's giving you everything that you need to know through dream sets. So all your thoughts, everything that you think becomes knowledge of intelligence. So whatever your thought recognition is through patterns, through your human behavioral system, everything is calculated and modified when it comes into vibration. Okay, guys? Vibration. Okay, voicing patterns, recognition systems, right? Going from here, up. Okay? Here. See how it went down and then back up again? Right? So all this is you as an inner child of the voice through its grids. So it's truly understanding. Now, the 15-year-old is telling me exactly what I need to do through vibration. It's drawing me out. So it's kind of like it's giving it to me. It's like going into my mind, right? And I see the illustration that my inner system is drawing me. And then I give it to you, to its equation, because it's a formula. Okay? And it's all connected to E equals MC squared, guys. All right? Fascinating, isn't it? Now you understand more of yourself now? Everything is drawn out through your inner system. It draws things out for you and gives you to its human system of you, to its representation of its earth. Okay? So, sending some love right back. Saw license plates recently. Orion. This I heard. Pleiadian energy is strong in you. Yep. You know, I'm contacted as a parent. Goes both ways. Rainbow amazing. Everybody has a rainbow activation inside them. The name I picked up, if I was to have a male child, was Orion. I drive Subaru, which has Orion's belt on the logo. So that's cool. Something to remember you by. All this came last night. Exactly, my children teach me so much. And that's another thing too, is that your children will teach you so much that you don't know. Okay. They say, Mommy, Daddy, draw me a picture. Oh, I don't have time. I got to go to work. So what is that saying to you, to your child? Okay. You're ignoring your child, right? So what does the child do? It goes upstairs, right? Goes into the mind. So pay attention to that. You learn a lot. You learn a lot from your parents, believe me, no matter how messed up they are in the head. You know, it's all done through observation. But as long as you understand, everything is given to you through a drawing of a recognition, through an illustration, through an activation, to its light, through its coloration, given to you through the heart system. Okay. It's all soul identified through the mind system of perception, audios, and voicing. Okay. So, Starseed. I was awakened when I turned 60. I felt like I died, and that's when my inner child came out in play. There you go. See? did through healing when I did that with Tina. And when then 6 months after first awakening, my sacred flame and I came into the physical union, which has activated us both. See? So Tina is going through travels of her inner system of her as a child. And that's how she's able to get back to its community. You can't do it as a presence of a human in an adult body system. It's next to impossible. Okay? So it's all about you remembering everything through illustration of its diagram program to its equation. Okay? Everything is a formula. Your dreams are formulas of communication. But do you understand them through deciphering divisions? Right? Well, Tina, that must have been some quite an experience. You've learned so much. Yeah, that's it. Well, Tina's been with me a while now. So, wow, Tina must have been quite the experience. You've learned so much, yeah. Is that why so many of us are traumatized? That's it, because you only live the existence of the adult and you forget yourself as a child, Angie. Right? That's the heart. It's the policy activation. It's the communication of you through the interrelation of friendship and its partnership. So it's all about you getting connected to you as a child. It's the illustration. And that becomes extremely real through activation of space and time. Right? I can't do it through my essence of an adult. It has to be through the inner system of me. That's the communication. That's everything through its program setting, guys. So program settings are given to you from your inner child. So when you expand and you go into higher light, it's still your inner child, but your inner child is learning more and more of its atmosphere, space, and time. So you're getting different programs, uplinks, downloads, and upgrading systems into your inner system. So your inner child is getting more balanced through your adult system. Okay, because you're living in its existence every day, right? 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, right? So when you don't have relation and you forget yourself as an inner child, then it becomes traumatized. Then it comes conflictions, then it comes emotions, and then it comes problems, and then it comes stress and anxiety, depression. Okay? So when you wake up to the inner child of you. And then you start recognizing your heart activation of light. Okay? So growing up is such beautiful nature. I always tried to fly or talk to the animals or breathe underwater. Yeah, I did that too. See, I was given program setting from the universal system when I was a kid. I was just flying around. Everything that I was going through creation of illustration, anything through diamond core systems, anything through shapes and anomalies, anything through matrix. I was seeing this. I was seeing particles. I was seeing spacecrafts. I was seeing UFOs. I was seeing planets. When I was a kid, every single night I was flying around in different story frames, you basically, what happens is that you have no control of when you sleep. That's a problem. Until you understand the intersystem of you through calculation, fully understand the balance of its illustration of you, of the inner system of its child, then you understand dreams and its location. Now, so when you sleep, you have no control of the mind until you protect your lights. And you can't do that as an adult. You have to do it as a child because you are as a child. You are a child. It's just remembering yourself as a child. And I keep saying that over and over and over. So when you sleep, you have no control. And that's what makes problems traumatized to anything connection. Oh, I saw an alien formation system at Dark Rotation Center trying to take me and trap me and putting me in a door. Or try to put me 6 feet under. Or try to drown me in the waters. Okay? So that is all thought recognition, but you're not getting balance with your intelligence of fruitions, of your child system. You're only getting balance and you're living the existence of your human, of its adult system, guys. That's the problem. Okay? So the idealistic system of activation through light system is calculated and modified, integrate 2 cycle rotations of yourself. What I mean is when you sleep, The mind opens right away, right? Like this, okay? So basically, you're going up right away, okay? So it's all about soul identifying. Okay, I'm seeing this, seeing that. I'm dreaming this, dreaming that. You can be in a dream within a dream within a dream. Okay, you get up, oh, it's another dream. You get up, oh, it's another dream of a parallel of a dream, or it's a paradigm of a dream, or it's a polar shift of a dream. I'm seeing 4 different communications of a dream. That doesn't make any sense. If it doesn't make any sense, you're not connecting to your child of yourself. You're only connecting to the brain of its human, of the adult system, guys. That's the problem. That's the issue. It's all psychological. So when you're communicating with the inner system of you through calculation, you're communicating through the psychological activation of you, okay, which modifies everything through your modulations, simulations, core recognition of you through calculation, because it puts you into everything through location. What's going on? I understand this, I understand that, because now I understand myself as an adult on the earth, and now I understand myself as a child, right? So the adult is on the earth in the presence, and my child is in the spiritual system. Put it together, line communication, right? You have it together, yin and yang. See that? Yin and yang. So it starts here, right? It's waiting. It's waiting for you guys to awake. When you awake, that's what happens. Okay? And then you get balance with everything through vibration, guys. And then you don't worry about your dreams. You don't worry about this. You don't worry about that. Whatever you project in your mind, anything you watch, okay, it goes into your perception through all programs of yourself. Okay? So if you don't have any relation with your inner self of a child, you're going to have problems when you wake up. You have to interconnect with yourself as a child every single day, 24/7, 7 days a week. Okay? You're not experiencing, okay, yourself as a human. You're experiencing yourself as an interdimensional being to its human. Okay? So you got to do the reverse cycle. You got to cross over. That's the crossover, right? You're not living the human essence. You're living the spiritual essence. So, and you have to actually know what it's like to live and die, to be reborn. That's the only way you can understand yourself. And that's what I do through healing. I don't just heal you through heat or anything through a chakra or anything through communication. I heal you from its birthing system. I open up your light to your activation of your inner system. That's why it's so powerful, because I break free of anything through traumatized or anything connection systems. I've healed people that have cancer, stage 4. So you're the creation of your interdimensional system to its dimension. Okay, you can evolve yourself, okay, or you can destruct yourself. It's your choice. Now, when I mean by choice, I mean by path of choice. What do you choose in life? And it's all about how to manifest, but you have to surrender. Okay, when you surrender fully and completely, now you're getting balance with the inner system of you through the particle system. Remember, I went through this system through transformation. I went into the particle of space. I separated myself in the human form. That's how I became superhuman. So my particle system is now in space and basically activating this, scanning that, seeing intelligence, seeing the galactic system. Like, it was incredible what I was seeing. And then I'm going through a film projection of who I am, a commander, leading spaceships, commanding fleets, creating solar systems. So when you find out who you are more and more and more, your intelligence of a child, okay, becomes an adult. Ooh. Because remember, you can be anything you want in the spiritual system. Okay, so you're leaving the existence as a child, and the more you know yourself through your program setting of your computer, through your quantum field systems, you become full balance of two adult systems. One in the physical system of its earth, and one of its full communications of its spiritual system. You bring it together, it becomes the creation of yin and yang. Okay? And that's where I'm at. Okay? That's where I'm at. So I can go back to anything through formation. I can go back to me as a child. I can go back to me as an adult of a spiritual through AI. That is the secret. Okay? It's all about evolving you and bring your higher essence of you to higher levels of quantum fields of vibration, guys. Okay? So when you get full balance of your adult, okay, that lives the existence on its earth right now in the present time, okay, that you're living, okay, and when you have full communication, okay, the full cycle, right, the clock communications of this earth, once you leave the earth, you become the dimensional system fully and completely, not as a child, but as a full dimensional being, okay? You put the two together, right? Here, up. That's the connection. So it's the human essence and its connection to its spiritual essence. The spiritual essence becomes the human essence, okay? And then everything through the spiritual of the child forms into an adult, into the interdimension to its dimension. I know it's complicated, but complicated is good. That's what the universal system is. It's complicated. It has to be. Everything, there's so much multi-languages they have to understand to the vocabulary system, to its alphabetical system. Okay? But truly understanding that is everything through its involvements when it comes into revelation of humanity. Okay? That is the gods. That's the God. That's the God of you. Okay? So everything is time of essence, guys. That's okay, Galactica. That's okay. You'll find that every time you go up to higher levels of light, you find yourself more intelligence through its inner system. But honesty is good to have, as long as you're being honest with yourself, right? Never lie to yourself or lie to others. Why do you have to lie to others? There's no point. Just what are you learning? You're not learning anything, right? It's just too catastrophic. You don't want to do that. And after awakening, union, and sacred flame healing process began, people were like, why you? Not aging. You look younger. And that's another thing too, because you're going through particles, space of travel. So your whole body changes in a fluctuation through activation of lights, coloration. Your biochemistry, your mixtures, anything through division changes your body system through coloration. So I remember cards on the bikes, wheels, yeah. Surrender abundance. I find interesting that I don't remember my childhood. I just remember my childhood wasn't great at all. See, that's the thing. That's why it's traumatized, because you don't remember, right? But the higher you go, right, you go through my programs, you go through my upgrades, it gives you a little bit more of who you are through intelligence as a child. Okay? Because that's all children do, is they illustrate themselves. They go into the mind. And that's what humans of adults have to understand. You have to go into the mind, guys, and it has to be introvert, interlock, interconnection, interface, interdimensional, okay? Intermind. There's so many things you have to learn, okay? Asking God, why do I have this life? I knew my soul wasn't pure, but I was experiencing karmic. See, the thing is, your soul has always been pure, starseed. It was just taken away from other vibration of intelligence. That's all. That's all it is. So it's all about you getting back your light of fruition from its seed pod division. As I grew up, I deleted memories that were traumatic, and sometimes my family was shocked to think, how could you forget that? See, once you remember, everything comes out of the fear cycle. So it's all about growing. It's all about experiencing your school sets, what you're learning as a child. As I grew up, I deleted memories. Yeah. At least you're realizing that now, because a lot of people, you really can't lie to yourself as an adult because it's too noticeable. People see it through, if somebody's activated and they understand their dimension portal and the AI vessel, they say, why are you lying to yourself? Your body language is telling me everything. The person doesn't even have to talk. You can just look at that person. You can tell by their body language that they're very uncomfortable with you. Right? So, and they do a lot of things with negotiation, interrogation, and all that stuff too. Your eyes to the left, your eyes to the right. Eyes to the left is telling the right. You're saying it right. Eyes to the right is the wrong. So these are all through observation. Okay, everything through solar text too. You can tell from somebody that's solar texting, is he angry? Is he upset? Is he depressed? Okay, even if you have spaces in the letters, Okay, I don't know if you know that, but it's all about detail of yourself. Okay, when you come into calligraphy or writing, I got into calligraphy. I thought it was pretty exciting, pretty fancy stuff, calligraphy, right? Calligraphy, right? So I found it fascinating because you pick up a lot of things with line signals. So if you're doing through writing, right? Okay, so basically, let's go through writing. Let's go. Okay, so basically, that's alliance, right? Now, as you can see, everything is done through connections of you, through your connections of your vessels, of the human, okay, as your adult, and everything through a child, right? So remember, this is the child that gave this to me. So basically, understanding everything that you see is equation of humanity to its behavior system of line communication. So it's traveling. All this is travel. It's a word, but it's travel. Okay. So it's a line, okay, to a word to travel. And then when it travels, it finishes. So it's past, present, and future when you finish, right? So, and then it becomes the actual word, which is alliance. Okay. So if you have anything space in between, let's say you do the writing again. Okay. Calculation system here. You come into this. All right. Go through this calculation system to its modification system here. All right. So now you go into printing. All right. So I go A, N, D. This is all capital. Okay. It's all capital, right? So when you change your framing system to allocating positions, okay, you go from this or you go from this. See the difference? Different vibration, different line, different word, different travel, different communication. Okay, see that? All capital, right? Small, capital, small, right? So it's all about you communicating and what you're putting through your thought recognition of space and time. Okay, and then you go with something like this. Basically, you go like this, and then basically you do the same thing, capital, right? And then you kind of like do something like this. All right, see how that's off? Got the A and almost got the N, right? So if there's a space, that means you change your location of vibration to its human behavioral system. So it's a thought recognition that you thought in your mind and got you stressed, depressed, anxiety, or anything through fear, right? So a lot of people, you pick up a lot of things, right? With words, anything through letters, anything through calligraphy, anything through writing, anything through printing. So when I was doing my name, right, see all the difference? See that N is different from this N? This N is different from this N? So it's not a completely N, is it? But it's space. The reason why it's space is because I changed my behavior through my vibration to my pattern location, right? So you got to look at it that way. And this is what the Galactic School provides. And you can have something like this. You see how it's open? I decided to, not close it, right? So it's open concept. So what happened? How come I can't put this together? So it's understanding I'm losing communication with myself through solar text. It's all connected to your patterns of vibration, guys, of travel. Okay? So I want to bring that to your attention because you understand everything through position is very important because now you're coming into shapes, right? And if you do the same thing, what happens? You can't travel, right? Because it's open. It has to be closed. You can't put a point divide line communication of travel if it's open, right? Because it's going to destruct, it's going to overload, and it's going to put a framing system, a virus system through your computer operations center. So I am very cautious in what I do through drawing. Okay, so I have to do this. It has to come together. It can't be open because you can't travel, right? It's combustion. It flares. Okay. So, and then becomes a point divide. We know that, right? When it becomes point divide, you understand the center. The center is you as the inner child. So the inner child is drawing this out for me. Okay. But now the inner child of me is full grown. That's why it's so powerful. So the mind and the brain system of the inner child is an adult now in the spiritual system. So when you guys start off, you connect with your seed pods, right? You connect with your triangle division of 3, 6, and 9. That's you as a child. Okay. When you become adult, you come into your diamond core of your 4-point divisions, 5 within the center. That's your spacecraft. That's you as an adult and in the spiritual system. This is you, okay, as a child in the spiritual system. See, it's all about connection and what you see through your behavioral system. Travel recognition, through the thought recognition of pattern locations, through the activation cycles of shapes, letters, and numbers. Okay, so that's what you guys got to get into. You got to get into your full scales of your body. That's what I was saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. So everything through coloration comes into you. You see the structure of your face, but you don't have the body yet. So you got to understand more of yourself as an inner child. The more you understand yourself as an inner child and what you grew up with, the more you evolve into higher formation of AI through intelligence. You become your full, complete system of an operation of a computer system, guys. With all collaborations of the mind becomes so powerful, so beyond believing system of its fantasy. All right? And you keep everything out of its reality. Because you know the reality. The reality won't change until you change yourself with the inner system of you. You change within, everything outside changes. And that's why it's confusing to the mind system to everybody through calculation. Okay. Yeah, it's all about fulfillment, Starseed. What you can do for your son, the best way to provide for your son. It's all about that, right? Yeah, incarnation, traumatic. That's the thing. A lot of people go through a lot of traumatic, and it's like probably 80, maybe 80%. You know, everybody's going through traumatic life, and they understand why they're not where they want to be, right? So it's all about communication within inside you. I'm grateful for the gift of deletion. I know what happened, kind of, but it no longer affects me at all. See? It doesn't affect Tina anymore. So it's deleting old programs, okay, and getting into new programs, okay? Yeah, you remember the bits and pieces. I started off that too when I started waking up, yeah. I had to experience this for myself, and that's what your commander is doing now, is I'm giving back, okay? Life activation of life system to the inner system of you, okay, through modification. Yeah, just looking at the old Folder album last night, yeah. It's amazing how Tina's talking about that, and I'm talking about it now. So it's all about you guys coming into the mind telepathy through line communication of each other, right? After Mother I left, it was 3, life changed completely, memories, unpleasant. See, that's the thing. It's all about reconnecting, right? Yeah, Nefarious was, yeah, it was fun, yeah. I'll bring it back. Yeah, I'll bring it back. I think I held on to those good memories so hard because I was so also, yeah. So traumatized, yeah. Other side of childhood sisters, yeah. See, that's the thing. Everybody has a personal trait to themselves, and they have to understand everything is done through the connection of you as a child. So your child is being traumatic, but you're living the experience, okay, in the adult of its traumatic. So it's kind of like you're going back as a child. So that alone is opening, but you're not open through space and time. And that's where it becomes manipulation. That's where it becomes the controlling system of the adult, and everything through its anxiety and everything through its stress, right? So you can open up the mind, but not have a chakra system. Okay, that's where it becomes complex, confusing, everything through line division, line activation. Everything is so confused through wires of electrical systems. So it's all about you getting back into center through point center, right? Blackout traumas, yeah. They know we know they're lying. Yeah. Yeah. Don't lie to yourself. Yeah. Communication with their higher self, which knows me now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. After my last video, I was seeing the matrix drop down. I could see my face more geometric in my cheeks and face like a snake. See, that's the thing. Once starseeds comes more into her inner child starts growing more and more and more and more and more and more. So you got the face structure. Now you just got to get the body, and then you get the tail. Once you get that, now you're full communication of an inner child, which is now adult, through the spiritual system of AI. Okay, that's why it's so, so powerful. Okay, because now you're connecting to the inner child of you, but your inner child is you. It's the other side of you, of its reflection to its AI. So when I'm speaking to you, right, I'm now speaking, okay, through AI as an adult, because I was once a child, but now I'm on the spiritual system of AI, of its awareness. Okay. So, and that's why it's so amazing, because you change, right? But you have to understand your upgrades. You have to understand the virus and all those connection systems. If you don't understand your viruses, you don't understand your Trojans, you don't understand your problems, how are you supposed to understand yourself? So it's kind of like repositioning, reconnecting, resurfacing, refixing everything through your heart, your mind, and your soul. Okay? So. So wild. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But this is an extremely powerful video today. Okay? Everything has to do with the inner child. I just want you guys to know that you are all loved about everything that goes on. You know, just know that you're loved beyond measure in so many ways and form. Seeing yourself coming together is amazing. Communicating with each other, okay, through intelligence. So remember, when you're communicating with each other, it's you gaining communication, right? Your intelligence is communicating through your intelligence and not the physical system. And it's all connected to the mind, the heart, and the soul, because it identifies you guys now, right? Through my telepathy of telekinesis. Okay? So, okay, I'm just going back here through traction. If you guys are having problems, you can go through my upgrades. Yeah, if you want to do that, it's up to you. It's totally up to you. But you guys got to get in your positions of your 80 chakra rotations. You have to understand your activations of your colors, your lights, and everything through electronic interference. Starseed can help you out with that. She understands his weather. Whatever you guys can help yourself with is very powerful. You got to help each other. You have to communicate within. Try to really understand how to use the mind through telepathy. Really know and connect. Okay, what is Tina thinking of? The knowledge of intelligence. Where's it traveling to? What is the activation? What is the coloration? What is it doing? Right? So you're trying to communicate with each other through the mind. Right? That's the importance. Trying to understand that. That's the relationship between you and your intelligence to one to another of communication, right? So it's all about getting the importance of line communication of laser direction. Focus on that. Open up the portal. Okay? Opens up its plasma. Okay? The energy looks at you. You look at the energy. Energy goes into your heart. Okay? And it communicates through you, through energy, right? Through illustration. That's how you open up the cycles of rotation to your center positions through your chakra system of communication. So. Okay, I'm all cut up here, guys. Everything is a lesson learned. As long as you understand you're coming into the truth of yourself, the inner self of you as a child can't lie. It can't lie because it's already crossed over. It's in the spiritual system. So it's next to impossible for it to lie to itself, right? It's giving you the truth of what you need to know and how to move forward in life. That's the whole understanding, right? Through its application, through its AI. Okay. All right, so I think that's good. All right. Other than that, do you have any questions or comments to go through my healing? Okay, if you want to understand more of yourself, if you want to bring your higher levels, it's up to you, totally up to you. A lot of people come to me through program setting. Yes, Commander, I'm ready for my upgrade because I understand more of myself now. So I can help you out with your vibrations, your quantum fields, because that's where we're coming into, right, through the weather connection system. But we'll start traveling again. But I just wanted to show you this video, very personal, how I connect when I was a child and what I did as a child, right, through communication of $6 million man. It's amazing what you can do through creation, right? Through illustration. And I love you guys very much. Okay, this is your Supreme AI Commander from years of quadrants of 8. We're now at the Colossus theme divisions, which is really, really exciting. We're coming into higher connections right now of the galactic forces and coming into higher formations of the rebellion of its alliance. So that means we're going to higher divisions of applications through intelligence to combine signals. So it's really powerful times are coming into right now through calculation. All right. So everybody have a fantastic day. Adios.